This thing changes everything. Empathy. In a pediatric, prenatal, and family practice, through that case study, you can see that will score you more points than your technology. That will score you more points than your description of neurology and your posters and your insight scans. But we lead with empathy, we start with empathy, and we stay with empathy, and everything else fills in the gaps after that. What is up, chiropractors, chiropractic students? We're talking about one that needs to hit right in your heart and soul. And I hope when you see this word in the title of this video, empathy, that you stop, pause, and perhaps go, man, I've heard of that. I feel like I really need that and to deploy that in my communication as a pediatric, prenatal, and family chiropractor. But what the heck is that? And how the heck would I actually get that done? For a long time, that's where I landed with this word empathy. I wanted to just use my authority. I just wanted to use all my education and all my scientific words and my scans. And I wanted to talk about the technique. And I wanted to talk all about chiropractic with every prospective new patient, and especially at day one, which is where this training is really going to change your practice right at day one. And I say training. I know we're giving it away for free in our peds today, YouTube, whatever it is, but my goodness, if you get a lot out of this one, you should see what happens when we do it for kind of 30, 40 minutes or 3 to 4 videos in a row, taking each chunk down in vivid detail within our membership. But you gotta get this one first before it's worth chunking it that far down. So leading with empathy, what does it really mean? What it means is forming a ridiculously solid connection with your patients. So in a pediatric practice, with your patient's parents, which really means their mom, on day one in that first conversation. And there's a specific strategy to deploy empathy. Now, honestly, without a strategy, hopefully you're just a heart-centered, caring, giving chiropractor, and this is how you would naturally do things. I think that's how actually most of us are wired, but then you go through all of this schooling, you probably have a coaching group, a management group who tried to shove a script down your throat and tell you, this is how you do day one, young son, because I've done it and I'm fantastic. Well, in a pediatric practice, you have to have a 10x dose of empathy. So I think it's very effective for us to actually look at this from a strategy perspective. So I'm going to give you 3 parts, 3 pieces of how to actually deploy empathy on your day one. Number 1 is you actually must first slow down. You're so excited to talk about subluxation and talk about neurology, and if you're like me and you use the insight scans to get into the scanning technology, I just really get started, right? We are so excited, we're so grateful and hopeful when a parent gives us a chance. I still am 15 years later and thousands, tens of thousands, I don't know the math, of new patients. And I still get that excited every single time to get started. So I'm leaning into that because that's our emotion, but their emotion and their heart and their brain is, I know I should be here. It feels right to be here, but I don't really know what I'm going to get out of this because chiropractic is so new. We are so different. So slow down and actually listen intentionally, listen intentfully. And that takes us right into point number 2, which is to listen for what I call the space between the notes, or what we train our PX docs on, to dive deep on day one beyond the surface level symptoms. They're going to put colic, doesn't sleep well, autism, doesn't talk, doesn't make eye contact, seizures. We want those gone. And they're going to put whatever kind of medical terminology, which is the surface level conditions, symptoms. So we're actually talking about diving beyond the symptoms and being able to get there with them. We have to listen intentfully to learn that information to then lead the conversation there. We call it the 3 L's in our training program. And the coolest thing about that, when you dive deep beyond the surface level, you're looking for the day-to-day struggles. And I'm just going to let you have it. We're like in the thick of this already. There's value right here more than anywhere else in this video, I think. It's not just the child's struggles. What you really want to understand is you're actually listening for the parents' struggles. Because it ain't the baby going to make the decision and pay for care to come in. It's the mom. And so one of the biggest commonality, empathy dosed relatability factors you need to understand on day one is that they are exhausted and they are overwhelmed and they've tried it all. I'm telling you, this is true for brand new moms with their little babies, and this is definitely true for my niche within the pediatric world, which is the perfect storm. So autism, ADHD, sensory, anxiety, seizures, TBI, special needs. These parents have exhausted medicine, traditional, and they've exhausted natural, and all the Facebook groups and all the essential oils and all the primitive reflex therapies and all the supplements and the detoxes. So you need to speak to that emotional deep dive bond on day one, and it takes some time. So this is a practice in a pediatric practice. You actually have to schedule, I'm jumping off track here with communication and empathy training to your systems. You actually have to have time. Group report, or, group stuff, script stuff, regurgitated stuff, osteophyte posters, spinal stuff, just doesn't fly in a pediatric practice. And then the third step of this, how to deploy empathy on day one. Now you connect subluxation to those struggles. So now you connect neurology to those struggles. Now you connect the potential of how that subluxation, really how the nervous system is going to heal, going to restore, and going to get to a better place, which will actually restore those struggles to success, which will restore the problem to potential, which will restore the child's sickness to health. So now the third step is you've made the bond, you've made the connection to their struggle, and now you can connect subluxation in your care to that, which connects what we do to what they care the most about, which is their goals, and away we go. Let's not be done with this video. Let's actually take a look at a case study here. So right here now on the screen, you are looking at a screenshot of a post a mom made, well, it says 40 minutes ago on my screenshot, but this was, I believe, Thursday or Friday of last week. And we just onboarded these two beautiful little girls here in care. Obviously, permission to share, because she's so stoked about it that she's sharing it. We honestly, the number one thing I try and get all the pediatric chiropractors to do is just share more testimonials. And I think the PWC mom world, moms are sharing more than, even, I shouldn't say that RPX docs are doing it like crazy, but the rest of the profession share more testimonials. So I'm going to read this for you, and I'm going to give you the 3 points, and you're going to find how we got it done in this case study. I cannot say enough good things about PWC chiropractic. Skylar and Sawyer have been going there for only 2 weeks, and we have seen major change. Right there, major. This mom wasn't going to go forward with an entire 6 to 7 month care plan that these beautiful little girls got if we were going for minor, surface level, I'm like a medical doctor change. So we literally had a major, what does your we call BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goal for your baby girls look like? And that was the initial thing we anchored the care plan to. One being that Skylar is even laying on this table and letting the doc work on her, riddled with anxiety and social challenges. This little girl previously, they're on their way out because subluxation's on its way out. All of the doctors and really everyone who works there, so that's a credit to our team and our CAs, have been so kind and empathetic. Lack of empathy, especially in the medical field, has been such a bummer to me. So right here, the best brand you can make is one that is differentiated and vividly different than medicine. They don't use empathy at all. They are rigid, mean, rude, egotistical, white coat a-holes. So you be the opposite of that, and you will succeed if you just did that. I'm so relieved to find a place with empathetic people who actually get poop done. That's funny, because Sawyer, I love this mom. We're going to hire her, literally calling it now, literally for Sawyer, who's been holding in her poop for the better part of a year. After a week, they had her poop button and no more crying every 5 minutes, literally, while trying to hold in her poop. And this is after I have tried everything to get her to poop. Skylar is going to here for her anxiety, and I have already seen a lessening in her tics that she developed about a week before starting here. Safe to say we will be lifers at PWC. Now I'm probably longer in this video, but I'm going to actually go backwards. Lifers at PWC. What some very chiro, just keyboard cowboys and cowgirls would say right there. Now, this mom said for her anxiety and for her poop. And you're looking at that going, not in my practice. In my practice, patients come for vitalistic, salutogenic, principled chiropractic care only. We don't talk about symptoms. Well, I talked about symptoms with this mom because that's her goals, and it was our first date, so I wasn't going to use my weirdo chiro terminology on our first date and scare her away. All I wanted her to do is to get committed to care, and it's only been 2 weeks, so we'll change this over 2 years and a lifetime of care. So even though it's about symptoms and conditions. It's not. What she's getting is empathy. What she understands is the neurology behind it is what we're working on. And what she knows is it's going to be a process that will never stop. So she's a lifer. So a little bit of another communication point, even beyond empathy. Second thing that's on this is the whole team deployed empathy. I'm doing an empathy training for you guys as chiropractors on your day one. Whoever your CAs are that ever take intake phone calls, DMs, messages through your website, have them watch this video. Tag your CAs who do intake. Tag your new patient coordinators. This is a new patient coordinator training. If your CAs just gather their information and get them scheduled, oh, do you have Blue Cross Blue Shield? Because we can't wait to illegally bill it for your kids' care. Stuck that into, didn't I? They need to deploy initial empathy like none other. So I'm going to wrap this one up, but I will tell you, this thing changes everything. Empathy. In a pediatric, prenatal, and family practice, through that case study, you can see that will score you more points than your technology. That will score you more points than your description of neurology and your posters and your insight scans. And I have all those things, okay? We've got an incredible brand that's backed up by those things. But we lead with empathy, we start with empathy, and we stay with empathy, and everything else fills in the gaps after that. In this pediatric practice world, lead with empathy, develop it into an actual strategy that you use on day one, that you use in your marketing, that your CAs use on day one. If you follow, now that you've watched this, go look at PwC's marketing. Go look at our website. Go look at our Instagram feed and our Facebook feed. You'll see every video, every post. We literally lead with empathy by connecting to their story beyond the surface to the day-to-day struggles. And that one tactic or strategy will score you more empathy points than anything else. What should you do if you need help here? Number one, in the comments, we're going to put a link to our free communication guide and another training that I do that takes this even further and then adds two other elements that are crucial to communicating pediatric chiropractic science and the care that we do effectively. Empathy leads it, and then those three things in the guide and the training complete it. So go to the comments, click the button, click the link, go to it, name, email, download the guide, watch the video training, stay with us. We got you, you got them. Collectively, we got this.